One. All right, everybody, how's it going? You are now listening to our 7th or 8th episode of Uncontested with Rob and Mania. How are you doing, Mania? How's your evening going?
My evening's going pretty good today, actually.
Pretty good evening. That's good.
Yeah,
I've had
good evening.
You finally over the loss of your innocence with the Patriots winning another Super Bowl. You're healed up.
I've moved on to the AAF with the San Antonio Commanders having a strong first game. So
that's all you got. That's what you got going for you.
The Rockets are 5th seed. The Stars are 3rd seed. I got those.
Yeah, you got fun pretend sports, All right, let's talk about some things that actually matter in the world of sports. We're going to, of course, start today with Kareem Hunt, and we have 3 subtopics we'll do. Does he deserve the second chance? Was this a good move by the Browns? And how dangerous now are the Cleveland Browns after this move? Because regardless of the first 2, it happened. He is going to be on the team, so how dangerous does that make the Browns? Because it adds to the team. You have to agree with that, right?
Yeah, it does add to the team.
Yeah. All right, and then we'll cover the Joe Flacco trade. We'll give our thoughts on that, and then we will talk about Kyler Murray choosing football over baseball. We will then give our first ever AAF power rankings and end with a way too early to call championship, first ever champions of the AAF. And so this is what we're going to be doing. We kind of changed the structure of the show up just a little bit in reference to we're going to make it a little bit more free flowing. A little bit more, less. It'll still be debate, but it's also just, getting our stuff out. You know what I mean, Mania?
Yeah.
We will disagree. We will disagree, but it's a lot less structured now. So, but it's not unstructured in the fact that we will have topics. And the first topic this evening, of course, is going to be Kareem Hunt. And Mania, you will start with: does he deserve this second chance he is getting in the league? Go ahead.
Okay, well.
I'll set it up really fast. He's been signed by the Cleveland Browns to a 1-year contract. He's probably going to be suspended for a few games due to his domestic violence dispute. The domestic dispute he got into at the hotel. Everybody knows that widely publicized incident. So he is now back in the NFL, has a second shot. And Mania, go ahead. Sorry to interrupt, but I felt like I should set it up a little bit better because it is 3 topics long for us.
Well, yeah. Well, me personally, I believe he should get a second chance, but that's because I do believe in giving people second chances. That's just who I am as a person. Mm-hmm. But I think the NFL in general needs to start getting a bit more down on stuff like this because they essentially kind of did knock out Kaepernick, and he didn't have a domestic violence issue.
He didn't do anything really that wrong. I mean, regardless of what you think, if it was kneeling, if it's right or wrong, he did nothing to hurt anybody. He did nothing. Yeah.
Compare that to all the.
He did nothing against the law. He did nothing against the law, is what I meant to say. How about that?
Yes, he didn't break the law. And compare that to all the domestic violence issues in the NFL, which the NFL definitely has. It needs to be a bit more consistent with its what it does with people, and it can't.
I 100% agree with that.
So it's either they need to start being
Ray
more
Rice is a good,
consistent.
yeah, because Ray Rice is a good example. He's gone from the league for forever, never has a chance to be probably being reinstated. Yet Kareem Hunt is back in the league now. It's very inconsistent the way they handle these things.
So it's just the NFL needs to I believe in giving people second chances, but like if they keep messing up, then yeah, keep them out. If it's like something super horrible, then no, don't bring them back into the league. But like the NFL needs to the NFL itself needs to get a solid stance and stick with it, because this whole back and forth with certain people, if you're good enough, we'll let it slide. If you're not good enough, we'll just kick you out. It needs to have some sort of consistency, because if you let it on too long, like as we saw with Steelers, it falls apart in the end. And if the NFL doesn't get this fixed, it's going to spread to other teams, then they're going to fall apart as well, and the NFL is not going to be as big as it used to. It may not fail as a league, but it may lose some viewers, especially with the AAF coming, and or it's here and people like it, and the XFL coming next year. So the NFL needs to get some consistency.
All right, so that's a pretty good stance. I actually agree with you on the whole entire angle of the NFL needs to be a lot more consistent with the way they handle these kinds of penalties. It can't be one guy is gone, like Greg Hardy and them, even though he's a multiple time offender. So I mean more like a Ray Rice who did it one time and is pretty much barred from the league. I think he can be signed, but nobody is going to, because they don't want that kind of reputation of having women beaters in the league, unless you really happen to be very, very, very good at the game of football. So you're right, they need consistency. It can't be just the superstars have a different set of rules than the rest of the game. That can't be how it goes. Kareem Hunt, though, yeah, he does deserve a second chance, and I think it's more based on, I don't know if everyone in this league deserves a second chance. I think it's a privilege to be in this game and to be able to play at this level of football, to be able to earn this kind of money, to be able to earn this kind of notoriety and fame and everything that goes along with being a professional football or just in general professional athlete. You got to have higher standards. But if you do make a mistake, which is prone to happen, you have to completely right the ship. Michael Vick is a good example of someone who earned his second chance by completely changing his life. Went from being a horrible, abusive person to animals to being, I think, one of the head people for the Humane Society for a little while, or like one of the spokesmen. So it's one of those things where you're like, yeah, he did all the right things. Counseling, therapies, changed his life for the better. Kareem Hunt, it seems he's doing all the right things. Therapy, counseling, alcohol, and anger management, all the things you want to see in a guy who was drunk and in a moment of anger hit somebody, especially a woman. You know what I mean? You want to see guys do the right things, get the right anger management, just do the right things, and it seems he's doing the right things. He admitted fault. He didn't try to, blame it on anything. He did kind of use the race card, but I mean, if that was said, it's one of those things. If you're drunk and someone's calling you some names like that, she's lucky she wasn't a guy. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
he was willing to hit her. And yeah, so it's one of those things where I think the public forgave Kareem a little bit because of the implications of what was being said to him. And we all know, well, you heard that part, right? That she was calling him racial epithets. Yes. And that's what he said led him to hitting her. And he said it was wrong that he did that. He should have left the situation. But it's like, all right, at least he was realizing I fucked up. And he didn't try to run from it. He said, suspend me, give me the 6 games. There's no need for an investigation. And that's one of those things where I'm like, all right, he's fucked up and he's gonna never do it again, I think. And but yeah, anything else, one simple off the field incident, he should be gone for forever. He should be on the thinnest ropes possible. Mandatory alcohol testing for probably, I don't know, what happens if you test dirty in the NFL? You get 8 seasons of testing, incredibly harsh, and
maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, it's crazy. There's a couple guys who've worked. Von Miller used to be tested every day, but he worked himself out of being in that situation because I think he had a cocaine or marijuana problem early in his career. Von Miller of the Broncos, but he was able to work himself out of that situation. I think Kareem Hunt needs to be like screened for alcohol regularly, and they need to like get that shit out of his life. But you know, as long as he does the right thing, stays clean, doesn't get in trouble, yeah, second chance deserved. But like you said, the NFL needs to be consistent. They need to figure out maybe a one time you're done for a season or 8 games. So, because the 6 games seems to not be deterring anybody. You know what I mean? It seems to still be happening. They're like, eh. But I don't know.
It's only 6 games.
Yeah, that's a lot of money too. Jesus Christ. Antonio Brown lost a lot of money sitting out, like $8 million for half a season. I was like, dude, how are you losing this much money and just going, grows on trees? But I guess in the NFL it really does kind of just grow on trees. But all right, let's want to go to next subtopic. I guess I have to actually start it. Was this a good move by the Browns? I have a very short thing to say. Yes. It was also a great move by Kareem to choose this team for. I'm going to be very short with this. Great move by Kareem to choose this team to sign with, and because it's his hometown team. He went to college at Toledo. He's from Ohio. This is his hometown team. I also the fans are going to embrace him as the hometown hero. You know what I mean? They're not going to be rough on him about the domestic stuff. So. Yeah, it was a good move by Kareem, and it was a good move by the Browns. They signed, obviously, one of the top 3 running backs in all of football. They give Nick Chubb a running mate in the backfield who's already a very talented running back. So now you have this 2-headed threat. You give Baker a toy that can catch and run and just do everything out of the backfield. Great move by Cleveland. You signed a guy who could become a stand-up player in the league. You know what I mean? He has this fall, but he comes back as like a strong force on how to do everything correct. That's the kind of player you potentially got, especially a guy who's going to have his heart in Cleveland. You know, you sign a guy from the city, you give him a second shot. The fans are gonna love him. You look like a good organization giving the guy who drafted you as the GM and John Dorsey. So I like that. I think it was a good move, and I think the Browns are a much better team for it. Go ahead.
For me, it's I may be a little bit longer, or maybe like the same. It's like more, if the move itself was smart, it's like a to be decided thing, but like how they did the move, I think
they're only gonna miss. He's only gonna miss 6 games too. So like at worst they go 2-4 or 3-3 in those 6 games, and then they could probably win 9 of the last games. That's another reason why I think it's it's almost a guaranteed playoff berth if they can go 2-3 or 3-3 with him out. So that's another reason. Sorry, I didn't mean to. I forgot that off the top of my head. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. It's like I'm not too sure if the move itself was smart, but like I said, I believe how they did the move, with it being a 1-year contract and all that, I believe that was a smart move. I'm not exactly too sure if the Browns will be like playoff this year, but like they will be able to this year just kind of test him, see if he's going to actually turn around this year with this 1-year contract. They can see if he still has still has skills. He's not deep going down, which I'm pretty sure he's not going to go down. He's going to keep his skill, and they can see if he's like good fit, which it probably is. It's like it's a to be decided. It's most likely a good move, as long as he doesn't go back to violence, or which he most likely won't. I don't think he will, but like as long as he doesn't do anything stupid, as long as everything runs smoothly, it's a good move. It's a to be decided. They played it very smart. It's not like they gave him a huge contract, multiple years.
That's what I mean. It was a 1-year, up to $1 million contract. This was a great move by the Browns. I can't find a single fault with it.
No, it's like if he will work out with the Browns, that's to be decided. But the way they did all this, they did it in a very smart way, which is not what Browns normally do.
You're you're skeptical of this being. You're like, this isn't the Cleveland Browns I know. How are they gonna fuck this up? You're basically just being a hater still on the Browns.
No, I'm not being a hater. It's I don't hate the Browns. It's they've had talent before in the past.
Do you want to segue into the next? Do you want to segue into the next segment right here? Because the next segment is how dangerous are the Cleveland Browns now? Go ahead. You go first right now, anyway. So.
Yeah, the Cleveland Browns. It's they've had talent before. It's not like they haven't had talent. Like the way we know them in modern times, we just know them as a sucky team. But you go back in time, they were a good team. There was a time where they were guaranteed the conference championship every single year. They just never made the Super Bowl. But they were a good team.
Yeah,
they were a good team with talent, and it's just they didn't do anything with that talent. And it's just throughout the history of the Browns, they get talent, they don't do anything with it, or they sign people with potential, and they end up hurting the Browns, and they end up sucking. And it's just, I really don't think this year is the year of the Browns, because this will be Baker Mayfield's sophomore year, and you hear all about the sophomore slump with the quarterbacks all the time.
Yeah, but Baker might wake up. Baker might wake up and feel dangerous all season long. Do you remember when he won his first game and he said he woke up feeling dangerous?
Yes, I remember.
He's gonna do it all season next year. He's gonna feel dangerous. Sorry, I know.
Yeah, he's gonna feel dangerous, but this is a sophomore slump that happens to practically every quarterback. They're not gonna have the Hunt for the first 6 games. He's gonna help them once he's there, and then Hunt is gonna have to be able to work well with the team really quickly, because he's gonna be with the team and are already gonna be playing games. It's not like he's
gonna be practicing. He is.
He's on.
You play in the you can play. Yeah, you can play the preseason, do training camp. Okay. Yeah, it's just regular season. Postseason. Okay, yeah, regular and post. But yeah, you're right. He's gonna miss a lot of games. You're right about that. Yeah.
He's not gonna come out like. He might, but
I was gonna say on real fresh legs. Isn't my turn yet?
Yeah, go ahead. I just don't. I think this year, maybe next year, the Browns. But like this year, it's just. I'm not too sure about the Browns this year.
All right. I disagree.
They have a winning season though.
Yeah, they're gonna have a winning season. I think they actually probably win the AFC North. I'm gonna make a wild, bold proclamation that the Cleveland Browns win the AFC North, and not only that, win one playoff game this postseason coming in 2019.
Everywhere and all over Cleveland, Browns fans cheered.
Yeah, I just gained a whole bunch of new Browns fans. How you guys doing? My name's Dirty Rob. I support your team. Not only is Baker Mayfield a real deal quarterback, he's going to develop like Russell Wilson, like Peyton Manning, like Drew Brees, only going to get better as he progresses. I don't see a sophomore slump incoming for this dude. I don't, especially now that the guy who was his quarterback guru is the head coach. That's only going to aid and further help his development, in my opinion. I know he gets less one-on-one time, but the team is focused around Baker Mayfield. They're going to add receivers in the offseason now, along with the fact that they got Kareem Hunt, one of the best running backs, on a deal. They're going to get him on super fresh legs 6 games into the season. When you play the bulk of your division, that's going to be very brutal. You're basically getting one of the best running backs in the league, fresh-ass legs, who's going to have a point to prove and a contract to earn for the following season. So expect 10 very hard-played games by Kareem Hunt. And we've seen what happens when Kareem Hunt has a big game and plays hard. Magic. He has like 180 yards receiving and rushing. It's some crazy shit that goes down. Jarvis Landry, another year in the system. With Baker, another year in the system. Nick Chubb in the system. Another receiver. The tight end they have. Their defense is going to be a lot older. The team is going to be a year older. You know, they're tied for the youngest team in the NFL with the Bengals. They play in a league with the Bengals, and the Ravens are going to be in a weird year after, you know, Lamar's now the starter. I expect a year or two of struggles from Lamar. Pittsburgh is a goddamn mess, and you can't trust it. And I feel like the Browns right now are a sneaky, dangerous little future powerhouse team that's going to be led by its defense. Guys like Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward, and Jabril Peppers. are going to be forces in the NFL, and Jamie Collins if he winds up staying. I don't know, man. That's a scary, well put together team. John Dorsey built the Chiefs into what they are today, and he's doing the exact same thing over in Cleveland. That's why I think it's not going to be long, and I think this is the year that they really do some fucking damage. John Dorsey knows what he's doing. He's proved it with Kansas City, and now he's finishing his job in Cleveland, where he has more control than they gave him in Kansas City. And I think this Cleveland team is better than that well, I don't know. That Kansas City team he built is pretty good, huh? Patrick Mahomes, the whole lot.
Yes.
He knows players, and that's what the Browns are doing now. They're picking up all these perfect players that other teams usually get. A la Baker Mayfield this year. They actually took the right quarterback.
A good quarterback, yeah. And yeah, there's no doubt the Browns are going to end up pretty dangerous in the future, and the Steelers are going to suck next season.
It's looking like it, isn't it?
Yeah, it's looking like it. It's just
Juju Smith-Schuster as the #1 wide receiver. All right.
Yeah, and it's I just think the damage that the Cleveland Browns will deal would be the next season.
All right, that's actually the end of our Cleveland Browns talk and Kareem Hunt. We're gonna stay inside of the AFC North though, and move on to the Joe Flacco trade. Ooh, spooky. Big scary Joe Flacco was traded to the Denver Broncos, and I go first on this one. So basically everybody knows by now Joe Flacco was traded from the from the Baltimore Ravens over to the Denver Broncos for a mid-round draft pick. This is after the team pretty much said that Lamar Jackson is the quarterback going forward for the Ravens. New team style, new running offense. You know, it's just time for Baltimore to move on and Flacco to move on. There's no bad blood. Apparently, this was a very fast trade situation. It was like a couple days. They what Elway called up the Ravens and asked, and then like they asked Flacco, and Flacco was like, "Yeah, I'm down," and that was the trade basically. I'm not even. Yeah. Am I not bullshitting, Mania? Was that basically the trade?
I'm not too sure on the keen details just yet. I couldn't get the exact details, but yeah. It was
that basically sums it up. Elway called and asked about the availability. And he went, fuck, yes, a 4th or 5th round draft pick? That's all you want? For a Super Bowl winning quarterback. For a guy who's going to plug right into my offense. And are you sure? I'm going to take him. I need a big arm quarterback to throw to Sanders and Cortland Sutton, and to kind of lead my running game of Phillip Lindsay and Royce Freeman, and my defense, which is elite, much like your 2013 Ravens. Are you sure you want to give me the same thing your team had that year? Yeah, that's fine. We have a new guy. All right, well, I'm going to probably march my ass into a Super Bowl potentially. Yeah, that's basically how I feel. The Denver Broncos are they've always had that scary defense. They shut most teams to under 20 points. They sack the quarterback like 90 times a game. They'll pick you off. They'll fuck your team up all afternoon long. But the problem is they were scoring like 8 a game this year for the past 3 or 4 years since their Super Bowl win. Quarterback has been a big problem, and I think they just kind of put a nice band-aid on it for a couple years until they can wait and find a real quarterback in Denver. Joe Flacco, I think this was a great move by Denver, great move for Flacco, great move for Baltimore. Everybody's a winner in my opinion, because Flacco's going to come out this year like a bat out of hell. He is going to prove he is still a valuable NFL quarterback. He has a goddamn Super Bowl ring. And he's not so bad that he loses his job to a rookie. That's one thing he's going to be playing with. That chip on his shoulder maybe reignites him, and we get the old Joe Flacco in 2013. He's got the defense, he's got the running game, both very eerily similar to what the Ravens had in 2013. I think this Denver Broncos defense is a lot better than that 2013 Ravens defense. Go ahead and quote me on that. The running game is by far more superior in Denver. So we give Joe Flacco a better version, to be honest, of what he had. He's going to need it to compete with the Chiefs and the Broncos, or the Chargers, sorry, and maybe the Raiders, but that's kind of funny. Yeah, this is a good move. This was a good move. It shores up the quarterback position. It allows Case Keenum to be, kind of used for a team that might want a stopgap quarterback or a good backup. for Denver or another team. And yeah, Baltimore gets their guy and moves on into the future, and that's not bad at all either. So that's good trade overall. Everybody's a winner. Yeah, that's fine. I think the Broncos are an immediate contender for the AFC title. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. This does definitely seem like a good move for like both the Broncos and the Ravens. It's with the speed and how it happened. To me, again, without all the details I know, it feels like one of the teams were desperate. It's like someone was desperate. Like either the Ravens were just desperate to get rid of him to like the first person they could, or like the Broncos just really wanted to get Joe Flacco, so they just kind of called as early as possible. And then the Ravens were just like, okay, whatever. It's just one of the two. It felt like one of the teams just really wanted this trade to happen with how fast it happened. I'm not too sure which team was. I'm not too sure which team was the desperate one.
It was probably It was definitely the Broncos that were calling. I can almost. You could just tell it was just, you know.
Yeah, and then Ravens were just like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, just take him. We don't care.
Just take him.
We get something out of the fucking thing, right?
Yeah, it's like they probably didn't think they could get anything more out of it. Like if that's the case, but they got rid of him, and it's the Ravens are going to be they're going to be good with it next year. The Broncos, they're going to be good. I'm not too sure there will be like a real contender next year, especially since they have to deal with the Chiefs.
Right.
Like even if Patrick Mahomes have a sophomore slump, like a sophomore slump from having an MVP season with 5,000 plus yards, what is that going to be like? Another
40 yards. If you throw 40 touchdowns, it's a sophomore slump. So you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like a sophomore slump for Patrick Mahomes. It's not like he's going to be horrible at all. Like a sophomore slump, it could be anything after his season this year. It's like the Broncos. I think while it might have been a smart move for the Broncos, I think I'm not too sure if this would help them more in the future. Like it's definitely an immediate help, but I'm not sure if it will be more like a few type thing, you know?
Right.
So, it's a little doubtful on the trade here, but it will definitely help both teams next season.
All right. Anything else? I'm pretty well set on this situation.
Yeah, nothing else really.
Alrighty. Now what? We are done talking about Joseph Flacco. Oh, Kyler Murray choosing football over baseball. This is something I want to just talk about very quickly. I don't think it's going to take up much time. I'll go first on it, and then you'll go first.
Second.
And then I'll go first. Yeah, I'm just saying for the final three. I go first, then you, then me. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So basically, we have Kyler Murray choosing to play quarterback in the NFL over his being a first-round draft pick, the number 9 pick overall in the MLB to the Oakland Athletics. Yeah, this is fine. I'm happy he chose, football. He obviously went with the money, the immediate time to play in the professionals rather than having to sit in the minor leagues for several years and then getting up there around year 4 of his contract and then having to play 6 years on some bogus rookie contract of about $5 million, or whatever his rookie deal was. I don't remember. It wasn't that great. Whereas if he's drafted, even if he's the last pick in the NFL in the 32nd round. I believe Lamar Jackson is making $8.4 million on his rookie contract, all guaranteed almost. So, yeah, I think financially it was better to go to the NFL. And if he fails, he can always fall back on baseball. So he went with the harder, more physically demanding sport to see if he can do that first. Yeah, you can always fall back on your baseball abilities. It's obviously there. You don't make it in the NFL. Fuck it, I'll go play baseball. It won't hurt you. And you will have made a good amount of money. You're financially secure while you're playing in the minor leagues, much like Tim Tebow was. It's just all these things where playing football is the smarter choice. If you have the ability to, childhood dream to play in the NFL, go for it, and then you can fall back on baseball if you still want to pursue professional sports after you're done playing football. You know, if it doesn't work, cool. If it works, hey, you're the shortest quarterback in the NFL to ever have a long, good career, which is what I'm hoping happens for Kyler. Because, you know, short dudes deserve a shot too in the NFL, even if they're 5'1". Hell, anybody, midgets can play in the NFL. It'd be funny.
Yeah, it would be funny. It wouldn't work, but it'd be funny.
Yeah, it would. Doesn't matter. Let Kyler in. I don't think any of these dudes matter when Trevor Lawrence hits the league. So I'm fine with whoever wants to play quarterback until Trevor Lawrence shows up. Then it's game over for all these pipsqueaks. He's 6'6". I don't know. I think it was a good move financially. You know, you can fall back on baseball. You can't really fall back on the NFL. So yeah, get that money and then go play baseball. That's what I say. And follow your heart, of course, all that dumb shit.
Well,
go ahead. It's your turn.
Yeah, I can understand why he chose football. Like, he probably likes the sport more, and the money makes sense. But like, it's I believe he has a better chance at success going to baseball. I don't think he really has a high chance of success at football despite his skill.
His ceiling is Russell Wilson. I think he could be as good as Russell Wilson. He's only got an inch or two shorter.
Yeah, it's still, it's like he is short, and
he's built like he's built more like a Russell Wilson with the wide frame, whereas guys like Lamar Jackson, who's 6'3", he's a very small quarterback for 6'3". Whereas Russell Wilson's a very stout quarterback for 5'10", 5'11".
Yeah, well, it's just he may have like some good early years. I'm just not sure he's going to have like a real long, successful career, and that's highly doubtful in football. You know.
Yeah.
I just think he would have had a much longer career if he started with baseball and he just stayed and he just did baseball. Right.
I mean, it's what you think he should have did baseball.
Yeah. I understand why he chose football. If you like the sport more, yeah, it's like me. If I had to choose between football and baseball, and I would choose baseball, because like, even if I had a better chance at football, I would choose baseball because it's the sport I like the most. And because he likes football the most, he will definitely.
Yeah, you're just like, hey, you're just trying to defend baseball. You're like, he should have fucking played. We need stars. Help us.
We need stars.
That's basically what it was. Is like, you guys need stars, but Kyler was like, nah, fuck your league. I'm going to the cool league with all the cool kids. Basically, the MLB is a bunch of nerds sitting. He's basically sitting. It's all the nerdy kids at high school. Is the MLB? They're like, hey, Kyler, come sit with us, and he's like, you know, he's like halfway to being a cool kid or not. Like, the NFL's like, you come over with us, kid, and he's like, all right, I'll go over with the cool kids. I'll see you guys. See you guys around. Maybe I'll come back after I'm done hanging out with these guys. That's basically what it's like. You know, he still likes the MLB. He's not gonna trash them, but he's real tired of hanging out with them dweebs.
Whatever. Okay.
All those guys too short to play pro football.
Hey, a lot of baseball players are pretty tall.
Yeah, because they're too afraid to get hit. If you're as big as some of these guys are, like Mike Judge, what the fuck is he doing playing baseball? Or Aaron Judge, sorry. Like,
he might just like the sport more. Come on.
Yeah, or he's afraid of getting hit. But we can talk about that a different day when it's baseball season, which is next week. We'll do our baseball shit next week. Are you excited?
Yeah, I'm definitely excited. Can't wait for baseball.
All right.
Baseball's like the best sport, America's favorite pastime.
Well, a bunch of pitchers and catchers have reported, at least. So, you know, there's that if you're a baseball fan. Ooh. All right, let's move on to the next topic, which is the AAF Power Rankings. Mania, you will finally go first. We are going to give our power rankings on the AAF. We don't have to give the reasoning. You can just kind of like give them and give like a small, brief reason why.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, well...
I see your list here. I found it.
Yeah.
Do you need it?
Found it. I have it here. Like,
Okay.
for number 1, I got the Orlando Apollo, and
Yep.
it's kind of obvious why they scored. They were really good at scoring, and while they didn't shut out the team like the Iron did, they scored the most, and they did hold the Legends to what, like 6 points?
Yeah, I think it was 40-6 was the final of that game.
Yeah, it's the biggest win difference in the entire first game. So it's like it's obvious why they should be first. And then second, I got the Birmingham Iron, and they basically because they were able to shut down the other team while they scored like what was it, 35 or like 20 something, 35.
Yeah, they 23 nothing or something like that. I don't think the other team scored. Yeah.
Yeah, the Birmingham Iron actually shut out the other team. It's so like they were high up on the list too, but I then give number 1 because Apollo, they had the biggest win difference, and they scored a hell of a lot of points. For number 3, I got the Arizona Hotshots. They didn't play that much defense, and they didn't really play as much offense as the Apollo, but they definitely had a very good offensive game against the Stallions.
Yeah, they scored. They went up like 5 touchdowns, and they went up like 3 touchdowns in 5 minutes, in 5 plays. It was crazy.
It was a good game, but I think it was like the most fun to watch out of all of the games because of how close it was and all that, and the back and forth scoring. I don't think the Arizona Hotshots ever were losing that game, but it was the closest game out of all of them. And then number 4, the last team that won, the best team that's going to win it all in the end.
Yeah,
it's the San Antonio Commanders.
Yep. And they just kind of looked average.
They did look kind of like average. They went against the Fleet. They seem to be like they need to get a bit more in sync and all that, but they did win their game, so I can't put them below anyone that lost.
Yeah.
And number 5. So the next 4 are the ones who lost, and number 5 is the Stallions, because out of all the losing teams, they were like the best looking out of the losing teams.
Yeah, I agree with that. And they also played like one of the better teams in the league, so.
Yeah, the Arizona Hotshots. And it was a good game. That the Stallions were never out of it the entire time. It's and then number 6, the San Diego Fleet. Kind of
Yeah.
they weren't as good as the Stallions, but they definitely did better than the Legends and Express. There's just no doubt about that. Number 7, the Legends, because they scored, and the Express is just last because they did jack shit. They didn't do anything. They looked horrible. Like when you're the only team to get shut out and it's the first week, you deserve to be last.
Yeah. Okay. And that's it. You got your 8.
That's the 8.
So you got Apollo, Iron, Hotshots, Commanders, Stallions, Fleet, Legends, and Express for your top 8. Mine's pretty similar. I have the Orlando Apollo at number 1. Much like you said, they dominated in their win. They gave up a garbage time touchdown. They were very good on all sides of the ball pretty quickly. After the first quarter, they were in sync on offense, ready to go. Steve Spurrier had them good, looking good. Number 2, I actually have the Arizona Hotshots. When their offense was on, it was completely unstoppable. They scored 5 points, or 5. They scored a whole shitload of touchdowns in a matter of 5 plays, and it was some of the most wild shit I've ever seen. It was like 22-26, and all of a sudden it was like 36-22. It was pretty fucking wild. Their defense is great. Their offense is great. They've got 49 out of 52 guys on the roster. And as they got more in sync, as they got more and more comfortable as the game went on, they looked more and more unstoppable, more and more, undefeatable, unbeatable. And that's something to look at. I had trouble with Apollo and Hotshots at number 1 and number 2. Apollo looked a lot better, so I went with them. Number 3, I have the Iron. I wasn't too impressed with their offensive putout, considering how many chances they had in the game to really blow the team out. Their offense looked a little shaky at times. So you get 3 takeaways and you only score 26 points. A little suspect. So that's why I have them at number 3, even though they have a great defense, much like the Apollo apparently. The San Antonio Commanders, just kind of average. They didn't look that great on offense, very inconsistent. But again, you can't put them ahead of a team with no wins. And then, I have the Stallions at number 5. They just looked average. There was nothing special about them. But I almost put them ahead of the Commanders because they did look a lot. I thought they looked better than the Commanders in their loss because they were playing one of the best teams in the league in the Hot Shots. So this one was hard, but I wound up going because I don't want to put a team with no wins ahead of a team with a win. So for now, the Stallions will stay at 5. It's the loss that they play. They're the best losing team, and I think they're better than the Commanders. But I don't put losers ahead of winners. The San Diego Fleet, yeah, that's fine. They just looked lost at quarterback after losing Josh Johnson. Didn't look any better. Again, they played all right. And then we have the Atlanta Legends. They look terrible, and so did the Memphis Express. Those 2 teams just look shitty. No quarterback. It's just bad. What can I say about those 2 teams? So basically, I go Apollo, Hot Shots, Iron, Commander, Stallions, Fleet, Legends, and Express. Much like Mania. We have one more topic now? Yep.
Yeah.
Way too early to call champions of the AAF. And I have to go first. So who do I think is going to win? Hot Shots probably, and I think so because their offense, like I just described, very explosive. They scored they scored a whole bunch of plays, and they went from 22 to 26 to 22 to like 36 inside of 5 plays. That's scary. That's going to be more explosive as the season goes on, as the offense gets in sync. They were missing throws wide open. They were missing, just out of sync plays that happen as you hit about week 3, week 4. The offense shores up, and if that Arizona Hot Shots offense shores up even more, it's going to be completely even more unstoppable than we already seen sneak peeks of it being. Their defense will improve. They have 49 of 52 guys on the roster who have been in the NFL. That's the most in the league. They have very good coaching in Rick Neuheisel. They looked very polished in week 1. They came together rather quickly. I got to see the Apollos play, but I think the championship game will be between the Apollos and the Hot Shots. And I think the Hot Shots win that game. That's my opinion. Hot Shots win that game in a close one. Very fun game, too.
Okay. Well, here we have it completely different.
All right, let's see what you got.
The championship game, I have the Commanders and Iron. And yes, Apollos really are a really good team, but it's I'm just getting this a feeling. It's like they're gonna die down as the season goes on. Like they're gonna stay ahead of everyone. They're gonna end up getting into the playoffs. I think the playoffs is gonna be Apollo, Iron, and then Hot Shots and Commanders. It's just the Apollo are gonna be burnt out. People are gonna know how to beat them. The other teams are gonna be a whole lot better, and because of their like basic gameplay with their what was it you said they were simple gameplay that they had? It's a simple gameplay. I don't think that works as well in the playoffs as whenever you're trying different stuff in the playoffs. And I think the Birmingham Iron just like kind of squeak away a win against the Apollos. It's just, that's the way I see it. And the Legend Express, I don't see them getting anywhere close to the playoffs.
No, I agree.
Unless they turn their act around right now, they aren't getting close.
Yeah.
The Stallions, the west part with the San Diego, the Stallions, the Commanders, and the Hot Shots, it's going to be a bit more interesting because the Fleet, they didn't look terrible, and honestly, there were moments where I kind of felt like that the Fleet did still have a chance to beat my team, and the Stallions definitely still had a chance to beat the Hot Shots. So it was much less lopsided than the East was. So right. It's a bit more. It's a bit harder, but I see the Hot Shots and Commanders kind of pulling through in the end and in the Hot Shots, I feel like it may be a pretty close game, and I just can't choose against my Commanders. And
Right, I understand it. You got to be loyal. I feel it.
I gotta be, yeah. So it's gonna be a close game, and with not a lot of information to go on with and I'm thinking of it as a close game. I'm gonna go with my team, the Commanders, and then with it, the Commanders versus Iron. The Iron, I don't see. They do have a strong defense, but I don't see them winning championship material. So You
think your team's winning it all? You think the Commanders got this?
The Commanders got this. Whoever the winner is, it's 100% going to be someone in the West. Like the East, I don't think is going to win the first championship.
For sure. I agree. I think it's going to be the Hot Shots, but
yeah, and I think it's going to be the Commanders.
All right, dude. We're out of topics. And we've been going for 45 minutes, so pretty typical episode. All right, everybody. Thank you. Yeah, not too short. Thank you so much for listening to this DRTV presentation, which is Uncontested with Rob and Mania. If you like what you're hearing and you want to hear more content from me and from Mania, subscribe to my channel or Mania's channel, which is down in the description below. Like the video, comment, and we'll get back to you. We probably both will. Because Mania scours my comment section like a demon, leaving 50 comments all over. I'm just hey, it's fine, dude.
I'm insane.
Mania.
Did you see my name?
Lord of Insanity. Yeah. All right, everybody. You have a great night, everyone, and we'll see you next week here on Uncontested. Mania, do you want to sign off?
Bye.
Bye.